obviously everybody knows that we're using the 803s. Everything is getting plugged into the Furman. This is the Furman Reference 15i. We're using the Krell Illusion, I think Illusion 2 or something like that. I don't know, it's like $7,000 or whatever. The Krell Illusion preamp, and then we're using the Krell, the matching amplifier to power everything. And then we've got a Blusound 2i Node. This guy is a pretty popular one. I think it's like $700 or whatever. First thing we're gonna test. So I'm gonna play some songs. Elias, I'm gonna give it a good listen. Elias is gonna give it a good listen, and then we'll give her some of our thoughts after we switch out our first cable switch. First one, the song is called "Home" by Dominique, Fils-Aime. It's high res. I think it sounds good. I think it's pretty solid center image. Like
that's something that I always expect, though.
Mm-hmm. Did it sound like towards the end, like somebody was walking upstairs, or was that in the recording? Did you hear it?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody was walking upstairs.
Might have been somebody walking upstairs. All right. So let me grab the. I'm going to grab the Monoprice cables, and we're going to plug it in here. But solid center image. You know, I heard all instruments, everything like that. It sounded fairly wide.
Yeah.
But listen, we really got to compare it to the next one. See if there is a difference, though. Here we go. Round 2.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead. You first.
All right. Enough of that. That's all I got to say.
You first. Go ahead.
All right. So let me just preface it by saying, or by talking about the other people in my life who are not audiophiles. The other people in my life who, when they come into my car, they like to mess with my my premium sound system. It's an Acura, but all it has is treble and bass. All right. If you guys remember what I was talking about when I first heard the AudioQuest cables, you would have heard that I said, okay, her voice sounds a little soft, and the music sounded like it was there. The instruments were there. The just overall bass was nice. I had no complaints. Other than maybe her voice was a little soft, right? Mm. But there was some soul to it, at least. There was some soul to her voice. The minute I started hearing these, I instantly thought of all those friends that I have that when they come in my car, they immediately turn up the treble and they jack it up. Yeah, they like their bass, but there's something about that sharpness that non-audiophiles like. Not to say that audiophiles out there don't like bright characteristics in their audio, because we know that Yamaha has those characteristics. Basically, what I'm saying is that these cheaper cables were just a little too bright for my taste, and actually they were the exact opposite of that warmth that I was talking about when I first heard the AudioQuest. You know, people could say, oh, yeah, it should have been a blind test or whatnot. I still would have known the difference, though. And that thing that I was saying about the instruments being there and the instruments sounding there and really having that presence wasn't here with these cables. There was no presence for the instruments. It was nothing but, like, actually my ears hurt a couple of times because of her singing, because of these cables, all right? Mm-hmm. It was just it was too bright for my taste. I wanted to go back to the other ones right away. That's all I got to say. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go back to the other ones. I didn't want to hear them anymore. I didn't want to, I mean, it's just bad by comparison. Like when you hear them back to back in the whole 10-second thing, yeah, maybe that might be a thing for a certain age demographic. Not for me. I got good short-term memory.
All right.
What do you got?
So this is what I got. First off, remember when I was like with somebody outside?
Yeah.
Somebody walking outside?
Yeah, go ahead.
So towards the end, I can kind of, it still kind of sounded like somebody was maybe walking outside, but it sounded more like they were, like somebody was banging something on the stage wherever they were recording, maybe on a table or something like that. Like in the front stage here. But with the AudioQuest, I thought somebody was walking up the stairs out of the apartment. Like it was bigger sounding. Like I heard more stuff behind me. Like it sounded legit like somebody was walking outside back there. And speaking of soundstage, it was bigger with the AudioQuest. The little sizzle of instruments, the sizzle, like cymbals or whatever.
Yeah.
They seem more realistic. Like they would hit, and it would still kind of like sizzle a little bit more. Like
sounded like those instruments were there.
But with the Monoprice, it'd be like, pss, pss, like we just stop. And with the AudioQuest, I kind of went on a little bit more. Like it was more like in a specific place on the stage there. Still good phantom image with the Monoprice. So give it that. But
Yeah, they
everything
had
was
the center. The center was there. It was strong.
everything was
I
just
agree.
more enclosed sounding. Like it's less life. It was like less lively. I would say the AudioQuest was more like I want to say if I was like in the front row, not even front row, maybe like a couple rows back, and then she was singing on the stage, and everything was just kind of like I could hear it more of the room, whereas with Monoprice it sounded more like it was an enclosed area, like she was in a smaller space. So the AudioQuest for me sounded bigger, for sure. And I noticed that the first time I sat in the chair and I heard it, I was like, oh, it's different already. So I think the more expensive cable, bigger sound, a little bit more life, a little bit more detail in the high end. Still a little soft, like you said. But then again, maybe the 803s are a little soft as well, because I know I've kind of voiced that in the past.
Sure.
And just fucking it sounds different.
It's
Yeah,
just
it sounds
harsh,
different.
though. Like the Monoprice just made these sound pretty harsh.
Yeah, because I think, like I said, like it
That's
doesn't.
what I mean by bright. Maybe I'm using the wrong term, but what I'm basically trying to say is that it was harsh. I told you my ears hurt. It's like that's the deal. I'm not trying to hear this any longer.
Yeah, I didn't think that like the instruments didn't carry. They didn't carry further.
And that goes
They
back
just kind of
to
just started and stopped.
that goes back to what AudioQuest claims, right? What's their whole thing? It's not about what you gain. It's about what you don't lose. And in this case, we're losing those symbols.
Mm-hmm.
The sound effects that we're supposed to be getting in those symbols.
A little sparkle, I think. A little sparkle in the high. That's what.
So we're losing that with the Monoprice.
Yeah.
We're keeping it with the AudioQuest.
There was like
It's supposed to
like,
be there. It's
Feels
not
like-
that the AudioQuest is adding that sound effect.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous to say. It's that it's already in there in the original high-res audio track. It's just that we're maintaining it with the AudioQuest.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, what level do I have to get to that level?
Well, we're gonna check out $1,000 cables.
Okay.
So let me grab those. I got those in the other
Did
room.
you know me? I like the happy medium.
Now, mind you, this isn't a blind test. It's not a blind test. Like we know what cables we're listening to. All right. So these are the Kimber 8TCs. Did it?
All right.
All right, go ahead.
So they were pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember the first pair of cables still having the instruments sound a little more present. I don't know, there was just something about those instruments that they were playing in the background. For the first set of cables, I guess it's the AudioQuest, that sounded like the instruments were just really, really expensive. And that's one of the goals of doing something like this, recreating that live experience of being in concert or making believe that you have this artist in your room with you. Although these cables made the voice sound better in terms of clarity. So I said AudioQuest. I didn't complain about the vocals, but I said that it sounded a little subdued. But it was okay. But the instruments are really good. Then I said the cheap ones just were harsh. This one, I'm saying that the vocals were better. But the AudioQuest has a little bit of an edge in terms of the instruments.
I feel like the Monoprice had a little bit more low-end bass in it. I could tell because that same part where it sounds like somebody's outside, like somebody's walking up the stairs, it sounded a little bit closer to what I heard with the AudioQuest as far as space sounded. Like it almost sounded like they were outside, pretty close. Not well, it did sound like they were outside. Like they were walking outside the door. I could hear kind of like that thumping sound in the background. So it was bigger sounding, wider sounding than the Monoprice. very close to the AudioQuest. Monoprice sound, those thumps sounded more like they were in the front of me. AudioQuest sounded like they were around me, maybe kind of outside the door. Same effect I got with this cable here, the Kimber cables. Although the thumps were less, not quite as pronounced as the AudioQuest cable, and definitely not as pronounced as the Monoprice. They're a little lower in dB in volume, just not as quite as thumpy sounding, I guess. So low end wasn't as good as the Monoprice, I felt. I did feel that it was slightly more open than the Monoprice, but still a little closed sounding, a little bit more forward sounding than the AudioQuest. More in line with the Monoprice. Like, I think I might have a hard time telling the difference between the Monoprice and the Kimber cable, except for the fact that I did feel that Monoprice maybe had a bit more low end, a little bit more low end bass to it. I felt like the sizzle of the instruments. Still not as airy as the AudioQuest. I didn't feel it was quite as dimensional as the AudioQuest. I'm going to say they're on par, maybe a little better, slightly better, because I could hear the cymbals coming between the left channel and the amplifier. I could kind of hear the brushing on the cymbal. Not, like I said, not as pronounced as the AudioQuest, but kind of on the same lines as the Monoprice. I don't know if I would say I like the Monoprice better. I think maybe for like pop music, I would like the Monoprice better. This cable, I would probably go with like, what kind of music would I use this for? Live recording, maybe for like rock music. I think I would like the Kimber cable for. Like I said, man, I think it would have a tough time between the Monoprice and the Kimber, except that just the main difference I felt like the mono, a little bit more bass on the Monoprice, Monolith. My thoughts on it. Still the best cable.
What's the best cable?
Still the best cable, best sounding one, I thought would be the AudioQuest. It just felt a little bit more airier sounding. Let me rephrase that. The best sounding, I felt the cable that made the speakers sound the best are the AudioQuest cables. More open, definitely more liveliness to it, a little more sparkle to it. A bigger sounding soundstage. Everything was just open, more open sounding. And then number two, I would have to go. I think I'd go number two back and forth with Kimber and Monoprice, although not quite as forward as the Monoprice.
And what's the difference in price between the Monoprice and the Kimber? Monoprice is $60.
Like $60. The Kimber is like $1,100. Yeah, it's like $1,100. Depending on how long you're getting. This is a 12-footer, and the Monoprice is 10 feet.
Well, all I can say is that I can't wait for the blind test, and I'm pretty sure everyone else can't wait either.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
it's pretty apparent. I think it's pretty apparent that
I think that if you just have common sense and you've been around this equipment for long enough, you can tell.
The Arendal Sound interview. So if you want to be part of that giveaway, like I said, they're $700 speakers, amazing speakers from Norway, great company, great speakers. Check them out. I will have a full review on a 5.1 channel system, hopefully coming soon, whenever they ship that out to me. And I'm also going to get the subwoofer in as well, the 1723 subwoofer, the big 3V, 2V. So that's coming. We're going to announce the winner for these 1961 speakers. So
that's a good brand,
Arendal.
For that. I like those speakers.
Man, you heard them.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Great speakers. Good price too.
Yeah.
Good value for performance. Not the cheapest speakers, but the 1961s are the cheaper speakers. But all right, we're going to get out. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see you in the next one.